Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. Well, another week has rolled round in the bagpiping world, and we've got a lot to talk about, folks. So, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a packed episode this week. Oh, and we have quite an awesome topic of the week, where we are catching up with another one in our Meet the Band series. Well, if anything, did you catch last week's? If you haven't, please do go back. It was quite a stellar episode where we did catch up with New Ross and District. Such a great one. That go and have a listen. But this week, yes, we're catching up with Cloughfin, and you'll hear all about that later on in the show. But first of all, let's get through our introductions, shall we? Yes, if this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, well, you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk. We reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yep, like every other podcast under the sun, we do have a Patreon. So if you do want to go and help support your favourite little piping podcast, well, yeah, head over there, click on support, and you get your mitts on loads of extras. But yeah, for now, we are currently running a bit of a promotion over there on Patreon, where our weekly Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show is being uploaded there throughout the month of November for completely free. Absolutely free. Yeah, so if you're anyways curious at all about Patreon and what our Patreon faithful get every single week, well, there's your opportunity because it's being given away for free. Now, that's not to say that our paid members on Patreon don't have anything, because they've been getting some little sneak peeks and early exclusives, I guess, for things that we have lined up over the next month or two here on the show. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, but there is, still some Patreon exclusives over there for our Patreon faithful. So do consider heading over there to Patreon, clicking on support, and you get mitts. Yeah, you get your mitts on everything. That's it. I'm just looking at the list here. The jeepers, there's a lot. Interviews, live performances, episodes of Big Rab Show Plus, all of that. That's all available there for our Patreon faithful, who are awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, with each and every Big Rab Show, we always open the door to listener mail. And this week is no different. Our email address has never changed from the start of the show, which is bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, last week's episode, we got quite a reaction from folks following last week's episode. So that's why I was urging you to go back and have a listen to it. We got one such email that kind of summarized everybody's thoughts on our comments on last week's show. This one came in from Hugh, and he said, "Hi, Rab. It was disappointing to hear on this week's episode that you and the team have faced criticism for this year's Big Rab Show Awards." Well, yes, we did, Hugh, and it was disappointing. Yeah, that's a diplomatic way of putting it, mate. He goes on to say, "We all live in this wonderful bubble that is the competitive piping and drumming scene, but sometimes we can be guilty of taking ourselves a wee bit too seriously." Okay, yeah, I can see that, absolutely. He goes on to say, the past month or so, our musical community has seen plenty of bad news, highlighting the pressures of running a competitive pipe band in 2025. The Big Rab Show Awards was a welcome, light-hearted distraction, and it was exactly what it should be, a bit of fun. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what it's intended to be, Hugh. A bit of crack, as they say here. Yeah. So not to be taken seriously. Anyway, let's move on with the rest of the email. He says, "For myself, being nominated by my bandmates was great crack, and there was more than a few funny WhatsApp messages from them and others when it was announced." Yes, because of course this is Hugh Conahan, who was nominated for Beard of the Year. There you are. So moving on. It says, "It's also worth noting that the Big Rab Show is more than just a podcast. It's a platform that brings us all together." Oh, that's so kind, man. Ah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, we are just a podcast, though. But okay, I accept that. Yes, we're a platform that brings everyone together. Okay. Those of us who post piping and drumming videos on the likes of TikTok, etc., know how helpful a simple repost or share from you guys can be. Yeah, and we're very active in doing that, by the way. Yeah, we got a lot of comments actually on our socials recently saying thank you for sharing my video. Oh my God. But like, we do this all the time. You know, if you post piping content and stuff and all of that, well, absolutely, we're going to do our best to kind of share it out with everyone and say, hi, look at this amazing thing. So, yes, it's kind of our bread and butter around here. That we love to try and, what is it? They say, a rising sea lifts all boats. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help the scene in the best way possible. So, yeah, sharing things on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. That's what we're all about, yeah. So he goes on to say, keep doing what you're doing. Don't be discouraged. And I really hope the awards continue next year. There you go. He goes on to say, well done to all this year's winners, especially Gus Sickert, who won my own category. I'm not worthy, sir. There you go. And he says, apologies for the long rant. Not at all. So that was Hugh Conahan there, emailing Sinton. And yes, well done to Gus Sickert. Has anyone seen the photograph that Gus had put up on his socials today, actually, at the point of me recording this? He put up quite an amazing photograph of his beard along with the trophy. And what is it he said? He said he's won it the same amount of times that Michael Jordan has championship rings. So that's something quite special right there. But also, he showed us a side of his beard that I don't think has ever seen the light of day. And I don't think anyone has ever seen before. So, anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out Gus Sickert on his social media, on his Facebook page and all of that. He has shared out quite an interesting image of his beard along with the trophy. So, yeah, Beard of the Year, Gus Sickert. But, Hugh, thank you for your email, mate. Thank you. It did kind of summarize a lot of the feeling that we got back. So many people were kind of disappointed with the amount of negativity that was flung our way as a result of the Rab Show Awards. So, well, following last week's episode, well, the complete opposite was then flung our way. So many people were saying, Rab, the awards have to come back again. You need to do the awards next year. And, I think the overwhelming positive feedback that we've now received, also makes it difficult not to continue, I guess. So I don't know. The Big Rab Show Awards, we got so much flung at us this year, it really took the wind out of our sails, and we're like, well, is this really worth it? But we did pose the question, did you folks out there want us to continue with the awards? And the answers have come in spades. By the looks of things, you folks definitely want us to continue with the Big Rab Show Awards, so we'll take that into consideration. We'll see what we can do for next season, all right? We'll just leave it there at that point. But yes, Hugh, thank you for your email, bigrabshow@gmail.com. All right, we also got another email address in. This one's in from Kieran. It was providing us with details of an upcoming competition that I'm sure you've all heard about, the Ardmore Cup. Yes, this is held in County Waterford every year and is due to be held next in the 21st of February, 2026. Yeah, the Ardmore Cup is becoming quite the competition to head to, actually, and early in the year. So, previous winners of this include Connor Sinclair and Finlay Johnson. And he's also provided us with details of this year's lineup, which includes Angus D. McCall, Willie McCallum, Callum Beaumont, Connor Sinclair, Finlay Johnson, as we just mentioned, with James Fraser, James Stone, and Alan Tully. And apparently there's a further 2 to be added to the list, which are yet to be confirmed. Love that. So this is all taking place in February 21st, the Ardmore Cup, and tickets are available now. So if you do want to attend this event, well, their advice is to grab tickets for it early. They are available for pre-purchase, and tickets are €10 each. And you can contact the organisers, of course, through their socials, or you can contact Eric Stein direct and arrange all of your ticket information. There you are. So that's all happening February 21st in County Waterford there, the Ardmore Cup. For more details, I say check out all their socials. All that details up there now. There you are. So thank you, Karen, for sending that in. Other listener mail that we did get in was kind of planning for future episodes. There's a lot of admin happening behind the scenes for future shows that, yeah, we're working on some big episodes, folks. There's some huge topics that we would love to tackle here on the show, and it's around this time of year, around the winter time, that we do kind of put the work in. We start the wheels turning right now in November, December for episodes that you're going to hear in July, August. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? But that's how much we plan ahead. So, yeah, if you are interested in appearing on the Big Rab Show, I'm going to throw open that open invite. Yeah, the door is open. If you have a story to tell or you would love to promote or plug something, then absolutely get in contact with us. We'd love to hear from you. And because, yeah, we are busy planning for next year's content already. So bigrabshow@gmail.com. Do email us in. Yeah, we've been doing so with a good number of leads, actually, and some very interesting points of discussion. And yeah, we're gonna see the fruits of that next year. But that's it. Sometimes the wheel turns slow, but it's definitely worth turning. There you go. So email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Right, so before we leave listener mail for this week, I wanted to talk about the matchmaking service, okay? The Big Rab Show's matchmaking service. Over this past couple of weeks, actually, we've managed to place even more players with pipe bands here. 2 in the UK, and I believe 1, I think it was a tenor drummer in Australia. Now, that was way out there. We didn't think that it would actually happen, but it did. So there we go. So if you are a musician of any kind, piper, drummer, doesn't matter. If you want to get involved in the piping scene and you're listening to my voice right now, and perhaps you're sitting in the city and going, I haven't got anybody to play with. There's no bands near me that, I'm never going to step in the circle. Well, think again. Contact us on the Big Rab Show, and yeah, we will do our best to put you in contact with a band that's either within the right grade level for you, perhaps geographically is close to you, all of that. We will do our best to get you in contact with the bands out there that are furiously recruiting at the moment. This is the time of year that's affectionately called the transfer season. This is when it happens. So there isn't a better time to make use of the Big Rab Show matchmaking service. Now, the reason I'm approaching this in this week's show is, well, number one, we're placing players in bands, and that's fantastic. But one of the big requests that we've been getting in this past, 3-4 weeks that we're finding is quite difficult is for players who live internationally and they want to play at the Worlds, right? But what they're saying is that all of their local bands where they live geographically, none of them will be competing in Glasgow next year. So they're on the lookout for bands specifically from the UK who are possibly looking for fly-in players. Yeah, there's quite a number of these requests on our books. Now, these vary geographically from the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. We've even had a few requests from China, believe it or not. We had 2 pipers in China that want to play at the World Championships, and we're actively looking for a UK pipe band. And further afield. Believe it or not, this bagpiping world is truly international, and a lot of pipers and drummers listening right now, they want to play at the Worlds and are actively looking for bands. So at the moment, most of the UK bands that we have on our system here that are recruiting for members they're looking for players from the UK. Now, whenever we do offer these international fly-in players, well, they do mention that it does create a series of problems. The number one problem is that there will have to be a serious amount of working on their own. Yes, a lot of remote learning, where you get sent music via email and then there's swapping videos backwards and forward for months. And it's a serious amount of work. And then eventually that player will meet with the band when they fly over to the UK. Then there's a very limited amount of time. You have to get uniforms sorted, instruments acclimatized, settled, and sound sorted so they can join in with the rest of the band. A band has possibly been competing at minor competitions then for weeks. So it's a big challenge to step in to any functioning UK competitive band and step onto the grass in Glasgow. But we do know that it is absolutely possible. Yes, it's a huge challenge, It's a mountain to climb, but it is definitely a worthy one. A lot of people out there really want to take up that challenge, and they do have a goal of playing pipes and drums in Glasgow, and they see this as a means to an end, to be a fly-in player for a band of their choice. Now, as I've said, most bands that we have approached have recognized this as a massive challenge. Some bands have said, yeah, they're up for it. Some bands have said, well, we don't know if we can dedicate the time. So we will do our best on that front. We will do what we can to try and negotiate on behalf of the player as well as on behalf of the band as to what their expectations are of that musician. So, a lot of the back and forward that we've been having between fly-in players and the bands themselves has been really quite thorny. I'm going to say that diplomatically as I can. All right. It's very difficult to meet in the middle when the band says we expect ABC from the player and the player says, well, I can do A and B. Not so sure about C, but can you still sign me up anyway? And sure, I'll fly over and we'll see what happens. Right. So I'm being as cryptic as I possibly can. But, I'm sure the players that we're currently negotiating for, they know what we're talking about. There is a lot of backwards and forwards. Or just to say, ourselves in the Big Rab Show, we are doing what we can on our matchmaking service to make it possible to get more players into that circle. This recent challenge with fly-in players, that's a whole different ballgame. It's murky waters, both for the player involved taking a certain element of risk, but also for the band themselves as well. You're going to have a player that will perhaps be there for just 2 competitions. And the amount of work involved, I just don't know. For a lot of these bands, that just isn't worth the squeeze sometimes. The amount of work, effort, tuition, constant online check-ins and stuff like that, it can be really arduous. But honestly, in my opinion, I do think getting more players in the circle should be the focus. But that's me, Anyway, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. To date, we haven't been too successful in getting any of the fly-in players in a UK band. We're going to continue trying, however. So if you do want to, you can, of course, email us in to say, hey, here I am. I'm living in the North Pole. I would love to go and play in a pipe band from Belfast. All right? I'm exaggerating. But wherever you're living right now, if you do have a goal of competing at the Worlds, then absolutely get in contact with us. And there are bands here in the UK that are absolutely willing to take fly-in players. But you need to be aware of the challenge involved. I think that's what I want to put across on this week's show. It's not going to be an easy road. There you go. All right. That's it for listener mail. bigrabshow@gmail.com. Covered a lot of ground there already. Jeepers. All right, let's get into Weekly Drone then. So JD got a bit of flack last week for the recordings on Weekly Drone. So hopefully things have improved audio-wise. We have tweaked a few things on our end too as well. So hopefully things will get better. Right, JD, let's start with the first one on the shelf. Oh, I have to plug it as well. Tell people where to go and get it. Right, go to our website, thebigrabshow.com. Big red button at the top of the page that says Weekly Drone. Yeah, it's an open microphone to the bagpiping world where you can tell us your story, your thoughts, opinions, all of it without fear of recrimination because there is no identifying factors. It's completely anonymous. And that's what makes this beautiful. All right, let's get into the first one then, JD. I believe I have a few of these on the shelf, but let's have the first one.
It's the Weekly Drone.
Lead drummers. We've seen 3 Grade 1 bands over the last 10 months who've had to step back from competing due to difficulty in finding a lead tip. Both the 78 Highlanders, Halifax Citadel, and Police Scotland and Federation bands missed the entire 2025 competition season after difficulties in finding new lead tips. While Police Scotland and Federation have announced Blair Falls as their new lead tip, 78th Highlanders still haven't announced an appointment. Now, John Stone are disbanding entirely, in part due to the difficulty in finding a new lead tip. You mentioned, Rab, that being lead tip is probably the most difficult job in a competitive pipe band. Perhaps we shouldn't be surprised, but at a time when it seems snare lines have never been bigger, it's still astounding to me that bands at the top level are having so much trouble finding players who want to step up into a leadership role. It's obviously a huge commitment to be lead tip of a grade 1 band, but surely there are ambitious drummers amongst the other grade 1 or 2 bands who would relish the opportunity to put their stamp on grade 1? Or is it simply a case that they all know the usual handful of bands will continue to pick up the big prizes, so they'd rather win those trophies as a core member than not win anything as lead?
Weekly Droner. Where to start with that one? Right, the problem with leading drummers in grade 1. Can I say, first of all, we've kind of spoke about this round in circles, I guess. The challenges with getting lead tippers in grade 1. Yes, I did mention that it is definitely one of the most difficult jobs in pipe bands. All right, and I did draw some criticism about that as well. I draw criticism no matter what I say in the show. But see the grade 1 big guns, that circle is such a pressure cooker. And when everyone's looking to you for leadership, it's even worse. Yeah, and let's face it, all of everyone's mobile phone cameras and everything else in that arena will be pointed at your direction. And it's your music that's being played here as well. And if your music doesn't stand up to scrutiny with the judges and you're down the pecking order and then you're on camera as well and things might be shaky and not going well, there's a serious amount of pressure involved. And not all of it good. Yeah. Now, we've seen evidence of this not just in grade 1, but in other grades as well. A lot of bands in recent years have seen some quite high turnover of leading drummers. Now, whether that's because of the culture at the moment, with it being such high pressure, all you have to do is look at the likes of grade 2, grade 3A. A lot of those bands have seen significant turnover in leading drummers. And it's the nature of the business at the moment. There just doesn't seem to be, those players who are willing to put their head above the parapet and go, all right, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to try and write all the music and everyone follow me. Look, it takes a certain amount of moxie, I think, to do that. And, it's a very difficult egg to crack that. Now, at the very end of your weekly drone, you did say, would it be better to be a core player and win prizes than to be a lead tipper and finish in the bottom 2 or 3? Well, I don't know. That's arguable. And a lot of people have mentioned this in the past where a lot of our grade 1 core players, could absolutely step into a leadership role. Any number of them. And, why don't they? It's a very fair question. Perhaps we'll need to raise this as a future topic of the week. I think we've been talking about the topic of leading drummers now for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we need to explore this. So I think we're going to have to try and invite on some proper big gun, grade 1 leading drummers and get their opinions on the circumstance as to why there is a distinct lack of grade 1 leading drummers or those willing to take up that role. Just why is it seen as such a poison chalice? It's going to be an interesting chat, that one. So yes, we will reach out and hopefully tackle that in a future topic of the week. There you are. Thank you, Weekly Droner. See how these things happen? All right, let's move on. JD, I believe we have another Weekly Drone on the shelf, mate. Let us have it.
It's the Weekly Drone.
Player numbers. Capping player numbers won't be the panacea some people think it will be. Let's say the RSPBA cap grade 1 bands at 20 pipers and 12 snares next season. That doesn't mean each grade 1 band will only have a maximum of 20 pipers and 12 snares. Band leaders will be working on the assumption that not every player will be available for every competition. For the bands who expected to be competing for the world title, 20 and 12 will be their minimum to ensure they're always crossing the line with as close to the maximum number allowed as possible. A far easier solution, which doesn't require rule changes or for stewards to be counting pipers and drummers on the way up to the line, is to ask adjudicators to adjust how they judge bands. Bands have been getting a boost from just the sheer volume they're able to produce for years. You've said it yourself, Rab. Bands like Cloughfin can put in extraordinary performances, which don't seem to get the recognition they deserve. And a lot of that is down to the fact that they're going in with smaller numbers. Obviously, there's a higher risk of someone making a mistake or the tuning not being spot on when you have so many sets of pipes to tune. But pipe majors are obviously deciding that's worth risking because they know they'll get a boost for having greater volume than other bands. If you can remove the benefit bands are getting from sheer volume alone, I think you'll see bands reducing numbers again because the risk-reward ratio on large pipe cores will start shifting back the other way.
That old risk and reward ratio that folk like to talk about. The number cap debate, folks, is absolutely blazing at the moment, and I'm starting to see opinion pieces and things like that being published all across the internet right now. It seems to be the hot topic. Some people are absolutely for it, some are dead set against it. Now, you did mention there about pipe bands having a number cap, say 20 pipers, 12 snares, for example, like you mentioned there in your numbers. Well, you did say that, band leaders then would appoint, say, 25 pipers, and then on the day of a competition, they'll routinely drop 5. Now, in my experience of playing up grade 2, grade 1, and that has been my experience, where band leaders, or the PM lead tipper, have been open and honest and said, right, we have 13 drummers, say. We can only play 10. We'll see how the morning goes. And if I give you the tap on the shoulder, that's it. Step aside. Now, that's how it was. Open and honest, and on the day, everyone was judged on their performances outside the circle, and if things weren't going great, then it was a simple tap on the shoulder, step aside. And that's it. There was no arguing. There was just a gentlemanly, all right, fair enough, that's me, it's not my week. And that has happened to me countless times where I got the tap on the shoulder, said, right, come on, Rab, you're fluffing those introductions. One more shot at it. If it's not happening, out you go. And then sure enough, fluffed another intro. That's it. You're right. That's it. But it was open, honest, two-way communication, and it was all about explaining the circumstance. Is that you weren't being dropped out of being malicious. You're being dropped because we can't carry 13 snares in there. We have, we only have capacity for 10. So does that happen nowadays? Yes, absolutely it does. We mentioned it, of course, about this past World Championship where the number of players that were standing to the sidelines wearing uniform and carrying instruments who got that tap on the shoulder. Now, that tap on the shoulder could come for 101 different reasons. There could be something going wrong with the instrument. Could be something going wrong with the player. There could be mistakes happening. There could be nerves or something, or perhaps something catastrophic happened with the instrument, like a stock fella or something, or a head burst or whatever. A million different reasons. And I guess because we don't know the inner workings of each band, we don't know the reasons why players get dropped. But people see this. They see players standing by the sidelines, and that raises questions. They thought, well, hold on. They're standing there with their pipes in their arms when they could have been playing for their local band in grade 4B. And yeah, that's where people are coming up with this counter argument that a player number cap would solve this issue, where, in my opinion, I'm not so sure. Now, you did mention towards the end of your weekly drone there that we should approach judges as to how they judge pipe bands and whether numbers do have an impact. Well, we've mentioned it on the show before that, yes, numbers absolutely do have an impact. So, will a number cap help? I have no idea. This topic, I'm kind of getting bored talking about it, the number cap. It just seems to roll around every year, and here we are again, 2025. We're still talking number cap, and everyone has an opinion. But yes, who has the right opinion? I don't know. I'm sure this will be something that'll possibly get negotiated out at an RSPBA headquarters level. I'm sure at some point someone out there is going to put this through as a submission for debate. And whether it'll get voted on and put through as a number cap, right, okay, you want this rule in place, bands have voted for it, then bingo, here you go. There's your number cap. And what impact will that have on the scene will remain to be seen. All right, Weekly Droner, that's an interesting one. The number cap debate rages on. All right, moving on. JD, we have another one on the shelf, buddy.
It's the weekly drone.
Band numbers cap. With the disbanding of a number of bands in grades 1 and 2, the usual hope of salvation has been parroted about capping numbers. This will not solve any problems. Suppose we say a grade 1 band should have no more than 20 pipers and 12 drummers. Do we really think players from the top of the grade will leave their title-winning bands and join a band struggling at the bottom? No, because players that step away from the top bands have had the opportunity to do just that, but decide to play nowhere instead. Or at least they just go back to their top band when they want to be back in the scene again. They already have the opportunity. They just don't want to help out bands struggling with numbers. Maybe we should just tell judges to give the smaller bands, even those with just a half dozen players, many short of the winning bands, the final placings they deserve. Judges should judge with their ears instead of their eyes. This is one of the reasons why no top band players want to join the smaller bands.
Some interesting comments there, Weekly Droner. That comment there, judges should judge with their ears, not their eyes. Yeah, fair point. But yeah, at the same time, when you have 20 plus pipers coming at you with an introduction versus 9 pipers coming at you with an introduction, the impact of those 20 players, it's hard to deny. Yeah, I've seen it so many times now with these grade 1 big guns that are just absolute armies of people and the tone that they can produce. Yeah, it's, I don't know. You can't really put it across in words. Yes, you should absolutely, have your eyes shut and not saying, oh, look at the size of this band. Well, they're going to be first today. No, I don't think a judge does that. But they go on musical impact, how the emotion of that performance carries them, and the bigger the impact, the bigger the impression, I guess. And it's very difficult to make that impact with a smaller band. Again, we're talking about number cap. Right, seems to be the theme for this week, but pretty much everyone's talking about the number cap. And yeah, that Weekly Droner kind of agreed with me there that it isn't the kind of lightning bolt to fix the bagpiping world, is it? Because, yeah, it has been my experience as well that, if you're a member of a grade 1 big gun and you don't make it into the circle, well, chances of you actually stepping down and perhaps rejoining your old band back in grade 4A, for example, chances of that happening quite slim. Now, whether pride is a factor with that, I do believe that does come into play. Because, let's face it, you've told all your mates at this point, you're going, hey, I'm getting a chance to go and play with insert name here. And they're like, oh, wow, holy crap, mate, that's brilliant. Absolutely, go for it. Have a good tune. Good luck to you. Shaking hands, patting the back. Wow, that's amazing. And then they all tell everybody else, guess what? He's away to go and play with them boys. Whoa, he must be amazing. And then you have to do the embarrassing knock on the band hall door. I couldn't learn all the tunes in time and I didn't make it into the circle. Can I play with you guys this season? Well, how do you think that conversation would go? Do you think that welcome back with open arms and big hugs and go, well, sure, you can try again next year. Come on ahead, you'll learn our MSR and then, you'll step out with us. Or will it be absolutely filled with laughter and going, you kidding? Oh, you didn't make it. Oh, right. Do you know what I mean? We know how the piping world works, and we know how much of a sarcastic bunch we can be. So, yeah, having that difficult return home could be too much for some people. No, I'm throwing everybody under the bus with that one. Now, there is absolutely fine examples of this where they do try and go and play with a grade 1 big gun, doesn't work out, and they do absolutely bring that experience back home, and then they end up helping the band that they left previously. So, yeah, I don't, as much as I'm kind of casting aspersions here, but I have seen both sides of that coin there. There you go. But again, number cap, I don't know where we're getting these numbers from. 20 pipers and 12 drummers. I think that's been bandied around a lot online with a lot of the negotiations and stuff between people. I don't know where that figure's come from, but it's an interesting one that people want to cap it at such a level because no one's mentioning tenors. Yeah. Do we cap tenor numbers? Anyway, let's move on. JD, please don't make this another number cap one. For the love of God.
It's the weekly drum.
Egos and money. Rab, I've read a lot about the capping idea and how it will help resurrect bands.
For goodness sake.
And I'll tell you why. Piping is a highly competitive hobby. People want to win and try to move up the ranks and grades. No one sets out to be last in grade 4B. Players in grade 1 bands generally feel that they are amongst the elite, and they are, if they get to play. But how many times have we seen young players join some of the big bands and be held there for a couple of years with a dangling carrot, then be cast aside? When this happens, players generally are hurt and embarrassed and are unlikely to go down a grade. I don't play in bands anymore. Too many Egypts and politics. I've heard this a million times over the years, and it really translates into, I wasn't good enough, but too stubborn to go and play at my real level. The other issue is money. To run a reasonable standard pipe band, pay for practice halls, buses, etc., it could cost around £10,000 a year, and that's not counting buying uniforms and drums. So bands need money to function. We have seen a band in grade 2 dissolve recently, only for the full band to go to resurrect a grade 2 band who have been off the road for a few years. They will inherit the drums and uniforms and possibly cash in the bank, I'm not sure. But not everyone is as lucky to be able to do that.
Weekly Drummer, I'm not sure who you were talking about there at the end. That's interesting. I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that. But hey, wasn't that exactly just what I was talking about? Yeah, where sort of pride comes into play. And it is incredibly difficult for that player to take that step backwards and go back home again. Yeah. Now, that was completely unplanned. I haven't listened to these in advance, by the way. JD just titles them Weekly Drone and then gives the title of the Weekly Drone. In that case, it was entitled Ego. Yeah, so that was one on ego. I had no idea what it was about. So that's what it was. Yeah, will a person's ego prevent them from making that step back to grassroots piping if they don't make it in the top flight? That's an interesting one. Yeah. Now, I know myself that after, I was in my grade 1, grade 2 days, especially in my grade 2 days, I was very happy to take the step back. Oh, I was very pleased because, you'd spent so long working and, absolutely thrashing the practice every single week and getting nowhere, no prizes coming. And you're like, what is this all about? And then suddenly something happens and the band implodes. And then you have to try and rebuild again. And the only way to rebuild is to come back out at a lower grade level. And yeah, from some regards, you had a heck of a lot of work ahead of you to rebuild things, but yeah, you were starting at a much lower level. And it was a relief. And it was, right, okay, great. It's like we're taking a back step here, but it absolutely isn't. We've now got a chance to rebuild and take a breath. You were out of that pressure cooker, like I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, that ego, I guess, could be more of a factor for some people than others, I guess. For me, absolutely, I seen it as a huge relief. I was like, yes, brilliant, happy days. Let's go back to 4B and we'll rebuild and step back through the grades again. And that's exactly what we did. But, yeah, for others, making that step down could be a difficult pill to swallow. Perhaps it's something that you've worked a lifetime on your craft to be pretty much as an expert in your field, and to take that step back down to possibly grade 3, grade 4, some could see that as a humiliation, which, well, in my opinion, it isn't. But, hey, some people do view that differently. But, hey, there we go. Some really interesting weekly drones this week, but I would say probably most of them are kind of the same, all talking about the number cap debate. Yikes. Right, folks. Number cap has been done at this point. That's nearly 4 weekly drones talking about number cap. Well, nearly. One of them is about lead drummers, I guess. But there we go. Interesting all the same. If you do want to send in your own weekly drone, go to our website, thebigrabshow.com. The big button at the top of the page saying weekly drone. And, let us know your feelings, warts and all. And if it has to be about the number cap debate, then, please come at it from a completely different angle that none of us have heard before. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. All right, folks, that's it for the introductions and all of that kind of stuff. Going to take a little short break at this point, and I'll be right back with all of the news and updates. Ever wish you had a piping teacher on call 24/7? Well, now you do. Introducing the Interactive Player, a game-changing new practice tool at Dojo University. Play along with world champion pipers while the notes on your sheet music light up in time. Loop tricky phrases, slow down tough sections, zoom in to focus, and build speed automatically. It's like having a teacher right in your practice room, showing you how to master every tune at your own pace. So, sign up for a free trial today at pipersdojo.com and start learning smarter with Dojo U's Interactive Player. Marchify, the brand new home of Flam 5 drumming. Check out their brand new Strike bagpipe case, inspired by their colourful, popular and reliable Flam 5 drum cases. The Strike bagpipe case combines durability, style and practicality, protecting every movement. Shop now at marchify.co.uk with worldwide shipping available. Marchify, every movement protected. Okay, time to get into the news and updates, of which there are plenty. All right, now I'm going to do my best to get through all of the big news stories that's dropped this past week, but if there is anything that does have to hit the cutting room floor, as always, you can email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. If there's anything glaringly obvious that we neglected to mention, well, you can let us know, and we'll hopefully bring it to a future show. Now, one of the things that got published and we didn't talk about last week, well, that's our fault, so we're bringing it to this week. Yeah, let's talk about the minutes that were published from the October meeting of the Board of Directors. Can I have a sound effect, please, to accurately describe what these minutes are like? Yeah, these minutes were a very interesting read. Now, there was the usual stuff that is kind of dull and boring, you know, all the usual sort of fare that you would expect at a Board of Directors meeting, all of that. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But the interesting part of it that I think everyone has latched on to is the future competitions for next season. I'm not going to play the sound effect again. Dun, dun, dun. But, everyone seems to have latched on to this. And, there are currently 4 major championships listed, and that's it. I think I need another one. Yeah, there's 4 majors listed here. Now, I'm going to read what we have confirmed in these minutes. We have the British on the 30th of May in Eglinton, right? We have the European on the 27th of June in Perth, the Scottish 25th of July in Dumbarton, and then we have the big one, the World's 14th, 15th August, Glasgow. Those are the ones that we sort of already knew about. Here they are now, published in the minutes, and there's one that's missing, and that's the UK's. So, as for where the UK's are, no idea. And it's been left up completely to speculation. No idea. So, because the minutes doesn't talk about it at all. If anything, they go on to say they're now in the workings of securing promoters and venues and stuff for the 2027 year. What? They're saying negotiations are already in the early stages for the 2027 championships. And that's it. They're just kind of, you're getting 4 majors this year. Let's move on. Now, hold on a minute. What about the UK's? I think that's pretty much what everyone was saying. So, at the moment, I don't believe the UK championships have a home. Now, there's tons of rumor, okay? So much rumor. We were getting text messages last night into Fuse FM Ballymoney confirming that they heard it was going to be held in such a place and whatever the place, and go and book your hotels and flights now. The rumors machine, man, is just kicked into overdrive. They knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who heard through the window that this meeting was happening in October, and they were saying that the UK championships were definitely going to be outside my house. Right. Please, folks, do not pay attention to the rumors until we get it in black and white. Do not rush out and start booking travel arrangements based on rumor. Now, these 4 dates that have been mentioned, along with their locations in these minutes, I think you can pretty much put money on it that that's where it's going to happen. They wouldn't publish this in a minute like that if it isn't going to happen. So, yes, we have yet to see a formal announcement, I believe, of all 4 of these venues. I think the World's has been formally announced. That's about it. But, yeah, get those dates in your calendar. We have 4 major championships confirmed. We have the British in the 30th of May, the Euros on the 27th of June, the Scottish 25th of July. Then we have the big one, the World's 14th, 15th August. As to where the UK's are, your guess is as good as mine. No idea. So will we get a 5th major? Again, no clue. There's been no mention of it in the minute here at all. Not the first idea. So not a clue. Yeah. All right. Also moving on, there was a bit of a lesser point, I guess, around fundraising. I'm sure you might remember that period of time ago that there was a fundraising officer that was hired, whose job it was to bring in extra funds and to raise funds for the RSPBA. They've been let go. It's been quite a challenging year for them, and they haven't been able to raise a great deal. So they've been let go. So that's in the minutes as well. You can read about that. So, yeah, we did mention about the appointment of this person and that we were hopeful that they would raise a ton of money. And anyway, it's in the minutes. You can go and have a read at it. It does make for a very interesting read for those who are nerdy enough to want to read that kind of stuff. But yeah, do you know what I'm finding funny? Now, I don't know. This could be stuff that Rab got wrong. But I do remember us on the show talking about this, about the ways that RSPBA could raise money. And we did talk about having an online store. We said, hey, wouldn't it be great? You know all the merch that they sell at the Worlds every year, those 2 trucks that sell out every year? Wouldn't it be great if they had all of that merch online? And then, was it like a number of weeks later, they launched their online store. And now here they are in the minutes to say, their online store is going great guns. Why haven't we done this before? This is brilliant. Wow. And let's expand the merchandise land, and just like have a whole big raft of RSPBA merchandise. Well, hey, I hate to say I told you so, but yeah. Also, shout out to their online store, by the way. The RSPBA do seem to be making quite a bit of money from online merch sales, which is brilliant to see. Yeah, that's kind of I told you so moment right there for the Rab Show. But yes, they also talked about that they're going to be launching a brand new website as well. That's interesting. So yeah, they've been in development apparently, and a brand new website will hopefully be ready to launch this winter. So, hi, we'll have to wait and see on that, what the new website's going to look like. That's interesting. Anyway, I'm sort of glossing over most of the content of the minutes. You can go and look at them now online. We've shared out the link and everything, of course, on our socials. Does make for an interesting read. Obviously, there's another meeting coming up now, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that front as to what happens next. But the next meeting of the Board of Directors is due to take place on the 6th of December, and yeah, you'll get a further update at that. There you are. All right, let's move on. Minutes aside, I know for some folk that can be really boring, but for some of us piping nerds, that can be quite interesting. There you go. All right, I want to give it a mention this week to the National Piping Centre Junior Competition. Yes, they put out an announcement on their socials there last week to say that entries are now open for the event that will take place on the 21st of February. Now, I do know that this junior competition that's held at the National Piping Centre every year, it kind of brings in some of the cream of the crop, and it is really quite popular with young pipers. So this is to encourage entries for all of the following categories: under 18, under 15, and under 13. There you are. Now, they also accept absolute bare-bone beginners for practice chanter. Yeah, there's a grade set aside for that as well. So if you are only just picking up the chanter for the first time and you fancy competing, well, there's your opportunity. Or perhaps you've been playing for a number of years and you fancy your chances in any of those other categories I just mentioned. Well, head along to thepipingcentre.co.uk and follow all the links for the NPC Junior Competition. Entries are open now. Now, they have all of your playing requirements and all of that kind of stuff. And they did put it out on their socials to say that event numbers will be capped this year. Again, we're talking about number caps. But yeah, I think because the competitions has been so popular in previous years, they've had to cap the number of entries. So they do recommend if you do want to compete at this, then please do get your entry forms in as soon as you can. Yeah, so to guarantee your place. So there you go. So that's your categories: under 13, 15, and 18. That's your three. And then you also have practice chanter as well. So shout out to the National Piping Centre and their junior competition, which is happening on the 21st of February. That's exciting there. Okay, we have a new and exciting appointment that we need to give a shout out on the show this week. Yes, Manor Cunningham. Now, we did speak about how Rodney had stepped down from the bass drumming role in Manor Cunningham. And yeah, it's kind of an end of an era for the folk there at Manor Cunningham. Yeah, sad to see Rodney go. But however, we now have a new appointment taking up the bass drum with Manor Cunningham, and it is none other than Robert Smith. Whoa! Yeah, Robert Smith, previously of the Field Marshal Montgomery, is now playing bass drum with Manor Cunningham. Now, isn't that exciting? That's exciting right there. Wow. So, hi, it's brilliant to see Robert back in the circle again after a number of years of being away from bass drumming for a while. So here he is now back with Manor Cunningham this time. So, man, what an appointment. So, if anything, during his tenure with Field Marshal, was through the 2018 to 2023 season. Yeah, so that's brilliant to see him back in the circle. So, hi, shout out to Manor Cunningham and to the new bass drummer. That's exciting right there. Oh, I can't wait to hear what that sounds like. Brilliant stuff. All right, let's move on. Okay, now I know we're talking about annual general meetings and things like that and board of directors and all that stuff. We know a lot of different branches around the world are currently holding their AGMs and stuff. Yeah, so there's a lot of moving and shaking, and we've done our best to share all of the kind of the outcomings of all of those meetings as we see them. All right, now we're aware of the New Zealand Association that just had theirs, and I think Liam Kernahan and that got voted back into his previous role, and other decisions as well throughout that have also been made. I think another one of the things that the New Zealand Association are looking at is the MSR playing requirement for Grade 4B, and they're going to change that from an MSR to a March format, something similar to what we have here in the UK. So that's an interesting change there for New Zealand bands. I think it was voted through by 75% of the membership. So that's going to be a change for this incoming season for the New Zealanders. So anyway, there was a lot of other decisions made, new appointments made and stuff for the folks in New Zealand. we have shared out all that detail there from their AGM. Very interesting to see all of that. And we are aware of other organizations as well, associations, all having AGMs. We're not going to do our usual and kind of summarize each and all of the outfall of which I just want to summarize it all, and we have shared it out wherever possible. If you're aware of your own particular branch or association having an AGM, or you know of one that's coming up, then please do let us know so we can let our audience know so they can attend. Yeah, or at least make sure that a band rep is on board, yeah, so they can attend. Right, so one of which I'm going to draw your attention to, of course, next weekend, the Royal Scottish Pipe Band Northern Ireland branch, having their AGM in Cookstown in the Royal Hotel. Yeah, I'm sure you've already received details about this. Your band secretary and band rep should already be aware of it. Yeah, 29th of November, Royal Hotel in Cookstown, the Royal Scottish Pipe Band Association Northern Ireland branch. That's quite a mouthful, that. Yeah, so they're having their AGM, and there are lots of positions up for grabs. In fact, I think all of them are. So, nominations and rule changes and all of that sort of stuff will get talked about here at a local level in Northern Ireland. And, the outfall of which I'm sure we'll talk about in a future show. But that's all happening on the 29th. If you aren't aware of it, well, please do give your band secretary a shake and say, hey, are you going to that meeting next week? Because you need to be there. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot talked about at this, and also some new exciting appointments, hopefully. So, we'll look forward to that. Now, I know we're being biased and reflecting things from a Northern Ireland perspective, but it's just because that's where I'm based. Okay? All right. But if you are aware of your own association having an AGM or a meeting, and there's outfall and there's decisions made and things, please do let us know. We'd love to report that in a future show. Yeah. Now, also happening next weekend, just when I'm talking about it, the 29th of November, yes, the Northern Ireland branch is having their big meeting, but also there's a massive event happening in Belfast called the Belfast Tartan Day. Yes, it's back again. Now, if anything, I took part in last year's event. Yeah, managed to blow pipes and had a few chins marching through the streets of Belfast, and it was so much fun. It was amazing. Do you know what makes it fun? Now, this is the 29th of November. It's on a Saturday, and the parade itself runs through one of the main shopping districts in Belfast. It's up Royal Avenue, which is like one of the main streets towards City Hall. And, people are so bewildered. It's amazing. Like, my experience of it last year is I was in the mass pipes and drums, playing Scotland the Brave and the Roundtree, heading up Royal Avenue, having a great old time. Full of drum majors were flourishing and throwing, and it was brilliant. So many people were so confused because they were doing their Christmas shopping. They were like dragging the kids along with them. And suddenly, here's this massive pipe band in the middle of everything. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? We were just talking to Santa Claus in the shopping centre. I've just told my husband to go and try on that pair of shoes for the 5th time today. And now I'm listening to a massive pipe band of like 50-odd pipers and 30 drummers. It was so good. So many people were so confused by it, but it was a lot of fun. And it was brilliant. So many people asking questions then. What the heck is going on? Where did you all come from? Anyway, go and take part in it. That's my only advice. It was the best fun. Yeah, playing pipes and drums in Belfast City here in Northern Ireland. It was just the best crack. And one of the main shopping days ahead of the holidays too. It was brilliant. For full information on all of it, go along to the Ulster Scots Agency on their website. Registration details are available now. And that's what I wanted to put across in this week's episode. If you do want to be a part of Belfast Tartan Day, you do need to register in advance. They need to know how many people are coming. Yeah, so they need to know how many pipers they have in the ranks and how many drummers, tenor drummers, bass drummers, etc. And, drum majors as well. So they need to know how many they have, so then, they can have everybody together in one big mass band. That's, the thinking there. So go and register your details if you do want to take part in that and maybe don't want to attend the AGM. That's for folks in Northern Ireland specifically. I know, we're being very selfish here in the show. We're being very Northern Irish-centric, but there you are. That's one for pipers and drummers here in Northern Ireland, Belfast Tartan Day. It's a serious amount of fun. You play a few tunes and stuff, and the reception you get from the Belfast crowd is just a mixture of confusion and just, absolute, they're like, oh my God, a pipe band, woo, brilliant. Random in the middle of Christmas shopping. Anyway, let's fly on. Okay, I want to give a little bit of a plug this week to Livingston Caledonia Pipe Band. Yes. Now, the reason I'm giving them a shout this week is because they're throwing an event that's going to be really quite special. Yeah, this is going to be held at the National Piping Centre in Glasgow on the 21st of November. So just a few days away. Friday, in fact. Yeah, it's entitled A Night with Livingston Caledonia Pipe Band and Guests. Oh, now it's the and guests bit that has me guessing, wondering just who the heck could they get through the door. Yeah, now to read the press release, it says, join us for a night of traditional music, ceilidh dancing, and a welcoming space for all to raise funds to sustain the future of the band. There you are. So if you do want to go and help support Livingston Caledonia, well, you're going to be treated to a night of all sorts of great entertainment. So for all that information and tickets and all that stuff, go on check out Livingston Caledonia Pipe Band on their socials. And yeah, that's all happening this weekend, Friday the 21st at the National Piping Centre in Glasgow. Brilliant. So yeah, shout out to Livingston Caledonia. I wish I could have went to that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, for those of you who do go, do try and take a bit of a selfie or something. Let us know what happened. Anyway, let's fly on. Okay, now I'm not going to go on about it because I know I did a bit last week. The Scots Trad Music Awards, the public vote has now closed. Now, there's been a lot of people asking questions about it, saying, well, Rab, when do you find out who won what? Well, to answer your questions, we've mentioned it already on the show, the award ceremony itself is taking place in the Aberdeen Music Hall on the 6th of December. All right? The first Saturday in December, so only a couple of weeks away from now. And you can actually buy tickets to actually be there in person. Now, obviously, ourselves and the Big Rab Show will be there as a nominee. So we'll be in the room anyway. And we can't wait for this. The lineup that they have playing at this is kind of a who's who of the trad world. So as you would expect, it's the Trad Awards, for goodness sake. But yeah, this is going to be a stellar night celebrating trad music. And we can't believe we're in the room still. You know, to even be in the listings. I'm not going to go on again. But to answer all those questions, when do we find out who won what at the trads? That's all happening on the 6th of December. The entire thing will be live online. For those of you here in the UK, of course, you can find it on the BBC iPlayer. Just search for BBC Alba, and you'll be able to watch it live as it happens on the 6th of December. So hopefully you folks will be watching along at home, and you will find out exactly the same time as we will, live in the room as it happens. So, yeah, it's a bit nervy right now. The public vote has closed. You can no longer vote for us. That's it, done. Hopefully we have done enough. I guess we'll find out when the 6th of December rolls around. There you are. Hopefully that answers all questions. There you go. Okay, I want to give a big shout out this week to the County Armagh School of Drum Majors. Have you seen this? Wow. Yeah. This past weekend, of course, we mentioned it, November 15th, they threw a massive celebration evening. And wow, is all I could say. This was all held in Portadown Town Hall and featured the likes of Drumlock Pipe Band, the Solus Highland Dancers, also had the William Kerr Memorial Pipe Band was there as well. And throughout the evening, he had all sorts of great displays from the drum major team themselves. Also, one of the highlights for me personally was the singer, Catherine McKeown, who really did steal the show. And just to everyone involved there at that celebration evening, what a show. What a show. There's been so many videos and photographs and that from it. Yeah, we've shared all of those out as man. We've spotted them, but you can go and check them out. The County Armagh Drum Major class on their social media. Yeah, what a night. And congratulations to everyone involved. It seemed to be an absolute packed house, and it was really well received. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get to this one. I didn't manage to attend it myself. Unfortunately, I was working. But hi, day job. Mortgage need paid. Yeah, so I missed this one. That's on me. But to everyone involved, honestly, what a stellar evening. And just, well done to everyone there. The County Armagh Drum Major class, that seemed to be a roaring success, celebrating your success. Well done to everyone. Okay, I want to briefly mention thanks to the Balmoral School of Piping and Drumming who posted it on their socials about the 2025 US Junior Solo and Piping Drumming Championships. Yes, they posted the results of all of it, and the overall champion on the day was Andrew Zhao. Now, if I've mispronounced your name, Andrew, I didn't do it on purpose. My apologies. But yeah, congratulations, Andrew Zhao, who was the overall champion. Now, he managed to pick up first place in the Pembroke, the MSR as well. And yeah, that managed to give him the overall win on the day. So congratulations to Andrew and to everyone there at the US Junior Solo Piping and Drumming Championships. I didn't know much about the event until I read about it after the fact, unfortunately. So that's on me, not keeping up to date with things. But for full details on all of it, go and check it out. Balmoral School of Piping and Drumming, and they have all the details on their socials. Yeah, well done to everyone involved there. Seemed to be a stellar competition. Standard really high as well. But yeah, congratulations to Andrew, who was the overall champion. There you are. Congratulations. Okay, it would be remiss of me, now that we're talking about piping competitions and stuff, we have to talk about the George Sheriff Memorial. Yes, took place this past weekend. Again, what a stellar event this was. Now, I've seen plenty of little clips from this, but again, there were just little clips. There was nothing of full performances from this, unfortunately. So we are on the hunt looking for videos from this. But yeah, this was the 29th George Sheriff Memorial Invitational, and yeah, was a roaring success. Now, this was taking place in Hamilton, Ontario, of course, this past weekend. And yeah, congratulations to Abby Long, who was the overall champion. Go on, Abby. Now, yeah, she managed to pick up the win in the Pembroke competition, or Abby did, and then she also got second in the MSR, second to Alex Pavlovic. You are. So congratulations to everyone involved there, though. I've been told that standard across the board, this is only continuing to rise. And as it's an invitational as well, kind of invites some of the cream of the crop now, as I've mentioned before. So, yeah, just congratulations to all 11 competitors who took part in this. And, yeah, looking forward to seeing what 2026 will bring. I think this event is honestly just getting better every time. But, yeah, congratulations to Abby, who picked up the overall champion on the day. And, yeah, just fantastic to see. So, as I've mentioned, if there is any little video clips or performances from this, we'd love to see it. So if you do have any of that, please do send it our direction and we'll happily share it out with our audience. But yeah, I'm keen to see more from this. But I've been told by people who were there, it was an absolutely stellar event. Fantastic. Well done, Abby. All right, keeping it with competition, and not ones that have happened, but one that is happening this weekend. The Livy Invitational Freestyle Solo Drumming event is taking place this weekend in Livingston in Scotland, of course. This will be held in Dean's Bowling Club, and yeah, it's completely sold out. All right, so if you are looking at a ticket and wanting to get in through the door, well, you're out of luck. This event has been sold out now for months, but yeah, do not worry. Ourselves in the Big Rab Show, we will have you covered. Yes, hopefully, weather permitting. Yeah, because the weather in Scotland right now is really quite bad. Yeah, there's been all sorts of crazy weather warnings for snow and ice and making travel quite difficult. So we're going to do our best to get to Livingston to cover this event for you, but weather dependent, I guess. But yes, this weekend sees, well, this prestigious event, honestly, open its doors again, and it's raising a ton of money for charity. So again, just shout out to everyone there at the backroom team who makes the Livy Invitational such a roaring event every year. The draw for which has been published. We've shared it out a number of times now. It's been adjusted as well from the previous one. So just make sure you're looking at the right one for all of your competitors. There is an MSR competition in the morning, in the early afternoon. It starts at 12:30, and then after that, yeah, is the freestyle. And it's the freestyle that I think draws the crowd. It's the one that's the most crack, to be honest, where drummers can just be completely creative and just go totally off the wall. And sometimes nearly too far off the wall. But yeah, some of them are hilarious. They're so good. So yeah, the Livy Invitational Freestyle Solo Drumming solos are this weekend, and ourselves in the Big Rab Show will be there doing our best to cover every aspect of it. Now, people asking, will we be live? No, we will not be live, but we may well try and go live for the results. We'll have to wait and see on that front. But again, we're depending on signal, weather, all of that stuff. All right, so we're going to do our best. But yes, we will be filming performances from the Livy Invitationals, and that'll all see the light of day on our YouTube channel, all being well. So, yeah, keep your fingers crossed that we do actually make it to Livingston due to the crazy weather conditions. And, yeah, and good luck to all of our competitors as well who've been invited along to this event. Looking forward to seeing you out there, folks. And looking forward to seeing also what you're going to do for this freestyle event. This is always a lot of fun. So, yeah, shout out to our drummers who've been invited along to this. This is going to be a great dice crack. So looking forward to that. That's this weekend on Saturday in Livingston for the Livy Invitational Freestyle Solo Drumming. That's good fun, that. Looking forward to that. Okay, I wanted to give a shout out this week to The Force Drum Major Display Team, who put it out on their socials that they're going to be doing something really quite exciting next year. Next year, they're going to be on stage with the Red Hot Chili Pipers and Ali the Piper. Yes, this will all be happening on the 9th of May in Usher Hall in Edinburgh, and it'll all be taking place after the huge Tartan Day parade there in Edinburgh. Now, we mentioned them earlier on this year about the Edinburgh Tartan Day and how the Force were a part of that. They were also on stage with the Chili's at that event as well, and it was a massive success. Well, this time, the Red Hot Chili's are hitting the stage with the Force again, which is brilliant. But this time, they have the added addition of Ali the Piper from the United States. Yes, Ali is coming across and will be thumping out tunes with the Chili's. Now, that's going to be a duet that you're not going to want to miss. That's going to be a lot of fun right there. So tickets are, I think the early bird tickets go on sale on the 21st of November. So, I think for more information, go to tartanparade.scot, or you can visit the Red Hot Chili's or the Force on their socials for more details on where to get tickets for this. I think this event will sell out pretty quickly, to be honest. Shout out to the Force. That's an exciting announcement right there. And to the Chili's and to Ali the Piper. Looking forward to seeing you on stage now in May of next year. That's good stuff there. There you go. Yes, talking about grabbing tickets and stuff like that. Yeah, just to give a shout out to the Belfast International Tattoo, their tickets are now available for sale. So perhaps if you want to secure a ticket or two as a bit of a Christmas gifty, there you go. Just dropping that little hint in there. The tattoo next year is taking place on the 4th and 5th of September, 2026. And tickets are available now. So you can go and grab them really early and get them secured. And then whenever everyone else is running around trying to get tickets in the month of August, and you can, I bought mine months ago. You can be very smug and sit back and go, I secured mine ages ago. What are you all stressed for? So, if you are interested in getting tickets, you can go along to the SSE Arena box office now and go and grab your tickets for the Belfast Tattoo. Yeah, now we haven't got any announcements yet as to the lineup for the Belfast Tattoo. There's been plenty of teases, though, and they're really good at doing that. Their social media team is absolutely brilliant at teasing things for next year's tattoo. If any of you super sleuths out there know what's going on, let us know. We're curious. But tickets are available for the tattoo. Go and secure them now. SSE Arena box office. Go and grab them. Now, speaking of teases, by the way, can anybody tell me what People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate are up to? Yeah. Have you seen this on their socials? Now, there's not much to see. And I think that's the big problem. All they've really published here, and this is what has everybody talking, they have published a photograph that kind of looks like the cover of Caberfy, right? Kind of looks like it. It has the stag's head on it and stuff, right? And it's all smoky and it's like reddy color, right? Very cool. And then all that's noted down is a date. 02/05/26. The 2nd of May, 2026. Now, what the heck is that? What is happening on the 2nd of May? What are you doing? Are you releasing something new? Will there be, I don't know, a new music collection or something? I don't know. Is there a live appearance somewhere that you haven't told us about? Have you a big gig coming up or something? Have you an album? Maybe there's more music coming from Caberfy because of this picture and everything with the stag's head and all of that. Is there more Caberfy stuff? Right. Anybody who knows the crack, give us a shout. We're incredibly curious because, honestly, People's Ford just posted this to their socials just a couple of days ago, and it's so vague, and no one seems to know what the crack is. Tons of rumors, again. Lots of people going, oh, I know what it is, but I'm not telling you. There's plenty of that. Yeah, but as to what the heck is happening on the 2nd of May, 26, no idea. So if anyone knows what the heck People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate are teasing us about, get in contact with us. Very curious about that one. Yeah, talk about social media teases. That's a big one right there. Yikes. Alrighty. Let's move on. Right, I'm going to give a shout out to the RSPBA, and they've put out a little reminder about band fees. All right, I'm going to be devil's advocate here. The deadline for your band fees is fast approaching, folks. The deadline is the 30th of November. So you've been given a fair warning at this point. Please don't run into fines or increases in your dues and all of that. Yeah, please make sure if you are wanting to compete this incoming year that your band administration fees have been paid before the 30th of November. Get your registrations in, get your paperwork in order, and then we'll see you on the grass next year. 30th of November is your deadline, folks, for your fees. Get it in. All right. Speaking of getting in, well, Scotland got into the World Cup, didn't they? Yes, the Scotland international football team made it into the World Cup. Now, I know there's a lot of football fans or soccer fans that would listen to the show and would wonder, well, what that's got to do with bagpiping? Not very much, to be honest. But we do know that a good number of our Scottish audience who'll be listening right now to the show are probably still nursing a bit of a hangover from the night before. It was a heck of a game, to be fair. And I don't really watch an awful lot of soccer or football, for that matter. I don't watch an awful lot of it, but I did watch a little bit of that game, to be fair. I watched about the last 10 minutes of it, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, all running around the pitch like headless chickens. And then suddenly there was a goal that was chipped in from the halfway line. What? And then everyone just lost their minds. It was nuts. And then I think the referee just gave up. He didn't even blow the whistle at the end of the game. He just went, all right, okay, yous are going. You're going to America. Good luck to you. The reason we're mentioning it on the show, because, yes, it was a very cool moment. It was absolutely a moment in history for Scottish football fans. Big moment. The entire country seemed to be absolutely behind the team. And, yeah, the outpouring of love and support for the football team at this point was just amazing. But the reason I'm giving it a mention on the show in the first place is because the amount of piping and drumming that has took place following this event. See the amount of TikToks and videos and all sorts of stuff that has been posted from pipers, drummers, all wearing football kits and out celebrating and playing tunes in the streets, in their local pubs and restaurants. I even seen one this morning of a piper who walked into like their local Asda. They walked into their local shopping centre on their way to get a carry-out. They took the pipes with them. They played a tune, walking to the booze aisle. They lifted 2 crates of tenants and then walked to the till, paid for them, and walked out and started playing tunes outside while cracking open cans from... Yeah, but please don't do that if you're not allowed to drink in that area. Anyway, it was very funny. Guess you had to see it. But hi, to everyone in Scotland who would have been celebrating last night, making it to the World Cup, fair play to you. Yeah, and a good number of you were out there piping and drumming and celebrating. Also have to give special mention to a lot of our trad and folk bands who were currently on tour. A lot of them actually published videos of the moment itself. A lot of them are watching this in dressing rooms, and I think it was Scarivore that I think they were on stage and playing at the time where the clock was ticking, where it was the game was in the dying moments, and they were halfway through a tune, and they were entertaining a large audience in front of them, and then a goal got scored, and all of their crew backstage lost their minds and were going, yes, we got through. And then obviously that got through to the band who were on stage, and they kind of just stopped playing and went, yeah, yoo-hoo. And the audience hadn't a clue. Why are we all cheering? This is why. And then someone eventually explained it to the audience going, yeah, Scotland got through to the World Cup. And they were like, yay. Very cool moment. Go and check that out. It's on Scarivore's socials, actually. It's quite funny, that. So, yeah. To all of our Scotland fans, yes, congratulations. Yous are in the World Cup. And, yeah, that'd be good fun. And I don't know much about football or that. But, yeah, I think Ireland and Northern Ireland are in playoffs or something like that for the World Cup. So both teams haven't made it through just yet. But, hey, guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know how it all works. I'm not a soccer fan. I'm an NFL fan. And, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. And you can all stop laughing. All right, let's move on. I think at this point, I should wrap it up for the news and updates. We'll end it there with Scotland making it through to the World Cup. And, yeah, I think at this point, as I've mentioned, if there's anything that has hit the cutting room floor that should absolutely have been talked about, please do let us know. bigrabshow@gmail.com, and we'll bring that to a future episode. All right. That's it for the news and updates. I think it's time for me to finally go and get a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week.
Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk. Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band supplies for all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom-designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Gilly Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs.
Yes, indeed. Time for topic of the week. And you know what? That cup of tea was well deserved this week. All right. But yeah, lovely, actually. And I had a wee Becky to go away as well. Lovely. All right, topic of the week time. And you might have guessed by the title of this week's episode, we are catching up with Cloughfin. Now, Cloughfin has been a band this past season, has been creating a lot of waves musically. A lot of creativity is happening there at Cloughfin Pipe Band. And yeah, ourselves in the Rab Show, we are absolute fans. We've been absolutely enjoying every run from Cloughfin this past season. Now, this interview with the folks at Cloughfin was actually recorded at the very start of the season, where the band has only really just hit the ground running at this point, and we'd only just heard their all original medley. Wow. Yeah. So, of course, if you haven't heard the performances from Cloughfin, I would urge you to go back and have a listen to them in conjunction with this week's interview. We do find out about the band, its history, and what makes them tick. Of course, their plans for the future as well. So, yeah, watch this space for Cloughfin. It's going to be an exciting period now, rolling into 2026. A band to watch for sure. But let's hear their story. So let's welcome Cloughfin to the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Who's joining me?
Well, first of all, it's how you doing? It's Conor McNamee here. I'm one of the drummers in the band. You'll hear from some of the other boys later on here. So Pierre McCrory's here with me as well. He's the bass drummer, and Conor McCallion, the pipe major. Unfortunately, you have to stick with me first.
Oh, here, that's no bad thing. Yeah, so Conor, I believe you're a bit of the band historian. Would that be right?
Well, I'm the band liar. That's that'll be. I'm the oldest one, so I get away with telling lots of lies.
I see.
Nobody else can remember anything.
So, can you tell me then about Cloughfin Band? How did it all begin? How did it start?
Well, the seeds of the band start around 1926, so that'll be us coming up to our 100th anniversary next year.
Wow. Yeah.
So sort of the formation of that band was there was a local branch of the Irish National Foresters in Cloughfin. Now, the Irish National Foresters was a cooperative. It's a benefit society. Back then, of course, there was no National Health Service or no welfare state. That didn't come into play until after World War II. So the sort of idea behind that was if you're a member of it and you fell in hard times, the other members would sort of help you out. But to raise money for things like that there, you would go and you perform at concerts in a nearby parish, and then they would come to you and you'd mutually sort of raise funds that way. So that was why the band started. But originally it wasn't going to be a pipe band at all. It was going to probably be an accordion band. And some people say maybe they should have stuck with the accordion, but I don't know. That's the way it is now anyway. But we didn't have any pipes or anything. So my great uncle Jack Small, I don't know how he got them. He either begged them or borrowed them or stole them or bought them. But he ended up getting a set of pipes because somebody suggested that pipe bands would be a nicer sound than an accordion band. Right. So he got these set of pipes and he brought them to the hall and gave them to whoever wanted to play them. And I presume they went home and practiced. Maybe not. Who knows? But they decided then that that's what we're going to go down the road of having a pipe band. So that's sort of how the kernel of it started.
I see. Wow. So for quite humble beginnings then.
Oh, very, very. Like, there would have been nobody to teach. Like, I think somebody probably bought a tutor book #1 or something for pipes and sat and studied it. And probably, I don't know if they could read, probably couldn't read, trying to teach themselves to read music, trying to teach themselves to play and to blow. And, really didn't know anything about it. So very humble beginnings.
I see, but very much from the community though, Connor. Like,
it was all
from all around there. Yeah,
it was all the local community. Kildress Parish, it's landmass. It's one of the bigger parishes in Ulster, but it's got one of the smallest populations, and it's a very farming rural community. There wouldn't have, especially back then, there wouldn't have been any money about very basic living off the land. It's not even good land. A lot of it's like moss and turf, and maybe a sheep would hardly live on it. So there wouldn't have been much money to be buying stuff. So it took them a while to get going. I have some old photographs there of guys coming in. There's a gab band that didn't even have a uniform. They had pipes. They'd been maybe sharing pipes to try and you take the pipes this week and have a go at them. I'll take them next week. So. Very, very humble beginnings now.
They are, absolutely. So from those days back then to where the band is now, you guys are flying high at the moment. The band's sounding fantastic. So can you tell me about any memorable or notable members in the band's history?
Obviously, we're going a bit better now than we were at the start, but, we wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for, the old saying, stand on the shoulders of giants and stuff. They mightn't have been the best players back in then days back in the 20s and 30s, but the big heart, you know what I mean? The band was everything to them, and they kept the door open for us, and we wouldn't be here only for them. For instance, the first pipe major was Johnny Nugent, and at that time, my father was in it too, and Noel Mullen's father, who used to be the pipe major, Vincent. Unfortunately, Vincent's not with us anymore, as either is my father. But there would have been times when them people were standing with nobody in the hall, and sitting going, how are we going to have a band here? The band back then in the 20s, they had a reasonably good band. The original band, they went to Drumlock. They actually competed in a contest. I don't know when it was now. It might have been in the early 50s, I think, in Drumlock, and they got a fourth, so they got a prize. Right. Now, some people say there were only 3 bands there that day, and they got a fourth, but I don't know. We'll take a prize anytime we can get our hands on one. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, listen, the bands went through a lot of different iterations, and as I say, the door's been kept open by various different people. Some notable people would be like my father, Vincent Mullen's father, Eamon McKenna, or sorry, not Vincent Mullen's father, but Noel Mullen's father, Vincent. Eamon McKenna, who was then the pipe major, Paddy Devlin, who, we used to play in a wee Cloughfin used to play in a wee hall, and that's why it's called Cloughfin, because it's a town land in Kildress. And it was actually a blacksmith shop originally.
Oh, right.
And that's why, that's why we have the anvil. If you look at our Glengarries, if you're ever close enough to anybody,
Yeah, on the cap badge.
On the cap badge, on the Glengarry badge, you'll see it's an anvil. And that's a homage to the fact that it was a blacksmith shop originally. Like,
I never knew that. That's
but
fascinating. Yeah.
it was all gas. It was gas lit. Even when I was playing, when I started, when I was 40 years ago, it was still all gas lit. So we had to go down to the shop to buy mantles to keep the lights on. Coal fire. Paddy Davin, the bass drummer's uncle that's playing now, his uncle owned a shop down there, P.T. Devlin's, and like he used to donate coal and stuff to the band. He was a piper as well, but he used to, basically finance keeping the place running with gas and coal. So big shout out to them guys and everybody that left the band available for us to be in at this stage.
Yeah, as you say, like standing on the shoulders of giants. It's brilliant to have that support network, even all through those early years. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, we had some people coming from outside, the likes of Ernie Shaw, who used to play in Ballybreast, used to be a drummer in Ballybreast. I don't know, maybe before your time, but we got him to come in and teach the drummers. And Jim O'Neill used to have a shop there at the stall at the contest. Used to see him selling stuff. He had played in the Donegal pipe band, so he had come up and sort of tried to put us into some sort of shape piping ways, So listen, we'll take help from wherever we can get it,
That's it too, yeah. But I think whenever you see the likes of, well, now I know about the reference on the cap badge, but also your bass drum skin as well, it is of its place. And it seems to be something that Cloughfin Band are very proud of, those roots.
Well, we are very proud of, as I say, this is a small parish, numerically speaking, and not the richest parish in the world. Anything we get, we have to fight to get it here, and we are proud of the parish. And the bass drum is a picture of Backmore Stone Circles, which is a 4,000-year-old, one of the earliest Irish settlements in Ireland, and we are proud of them things, and we probably don't promote ourselves enough and shout about how good this place is, because we're all still here. We haven't moved to America or Australia. Well, some of us did move to Australia for a while, but we'll not talk about that.
No. There you go. So I have to ask then, in the band's history, which is almost 100 years now, has there been any big standout, memorable moments for the band? Like any notable achievements and things over those years?
Well, there's plenty of standout moments. A lot of them I can't talk about, because they wouldn't be good. But no, well, our philosophy here was, wouldn't it be great to have a good band? That's the number one thing. Whenever I come back to the band when I was about 20 or so, I just wanted to have a decent band and be able to walk down the street and play a tune and go, "Hey, that was good. That was decent."
Yeah.
We did go. And we used to go to Laurel and Flaw, go to Hearn, down, well, it could be anywhere. It could be in Kilkenny or anywhere.
Yeah.
So we won it. We've won it several times. And back in the day, there would have been quite a few bands competing at that. And that was our worlds, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We used to have to sit for weeks and weeks. Every night we'd go to band practice. And, you get sick of band practice because you'd be at it every night, to compete at this contest that, well, maybe not so many people know about or heard about or care about, but, that would have been the big thing at the time, But hey, listen, even just getting out was a big achievement. Having a band, that's a big achievement. That's a big achievement for anybody. There's lots of bands in the country that don't exist anymore. And I remember Noah Mullen telling me something that Vivian McCann, the pipe major Ballinderry, said to him. He says, as long as you keep the door open, you got to keep the door open. The day you lock the door, it's over. Right? Yeah. So if you have one piper and one drummer, you always have potentially a band there. The day you close the door, that opportunity's gone. So our philosophy here is keep the door open. No matter what, keep going.
That's very wise words, and I'm sure a lot of people listening right now will be aware of a lot of bands that are currently off the road, and are going through that, stage now of having to rebuild again. So no, that's definitely wise words, Connor. Yeah. Well,
all bands go through that stage. There's highs and lows. I remember I was out in a bar drinking. It's 20 years ago, and the band wasn't. We're in a bit of a lull, and the boy says to me, "Oh, are you still playing the band?" Aye. Oh, you're still going? I says, "I was still going." He says, "How are you still going?" I says, "Oh, just keep on going." And the next question goes, "Why are you still going?"
Oh no!
So he wasn't a big fan. No. He didn't rate us, but I think things go up, things go down.
They do.
We're hopefully we're in an up position at the minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
And long may it continue.
Indeed. Well, I need to talk to your pipe major, Conor McCallion, there. Obviously, with the band now this season, we've been talking about the medley selection that the band have been playing this year. It's really drew a lot of attention this year. Conor, can you tell us about the new medley that the band are playing this year?
Yes, Rob, how's it going? I thought Conor McNee was going to steal the whole show on us there. The medley, there's, I suppose, a bit of a backstory to the medley, Rob. In 2023, we were still in grade 4A, and there's a guy that played with us in Bondi Bridge, Leroy Owens. He's still to be a good friend of a lot of ours, Noel, myself, and Brandon, etc. Yeah. But he played with us that year in the Worlds in 23, and we're fourth. It was the first time the band ever got a prize in the Worlds, which it was fantastic. One of the, for me, probably the biggest moment for my time being in Cloughfin Pipe Band. It was absolutely fantastic. First time getting a prize. But that night in the bar, after a few drinks, I kind of, through that year, I knew we were going to be promoted to the 3B, or I certainly had a good inkling that we would. And I had been going through medley tunes in my own head up to the Worlds. But Leroy had composed a few tunes back in Ballinderry. And in 2007, the last year that Ballinderry went out, we actually played a hornpipe in the medley. It was Stephen Andy's Good Move. And you'll actually hear it. You'll have heard it last year. Closskelt were playing it in grade 1 last year.
So I was going to say, yeah.
It gives you that kind of understanding of the kind of composer Leroy is. So we were having a few beers that night, and I mentioned to him, look, over the next couple of weeks, I'd like to sit down with you and go through. I'd like to introduce a couple of your compositions into the medley. And I had a few traditional tunes that I had in my own mind that I wanted to play in the medley. Yeah. So, of course, we got talking and came back from Glasgow, still on the high, and I called him on the Monday on the way home from work, and he was buzzing, I was buzzing, and we said, right, on Saturday evening I'll call over and we'll sit down and go through it. We sat down and we just had a bit of crack, cup of tea, went through tunes. And by the time I left, Rob, we had the medley more or less done and dusted. And there was no intention of being fully traditional at that, or fully original at that stage. It was supposed to be a kind of a combination. But as we started talking, and I kind of told him what I wanted, and we're bouncing ideas off each other. Now, I'd take no credit. It's all 100% his. But there was arrangement changes and what I liked. I knew what I liked and I knew what I didn't like. But some of the tune selection that he's coming up with and the compositions, it was like, this is fantastic. This is what I want. Yeah. It kind of grew legs, Rob. That's the honest. We didn't set out to do that. And look, it's not to everybody's taste. I totally understand that. And we're probably, I don't know, and maybe you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Certainly down the lower grades, I don't think there's any band that's probably ever done a fully original medley from start to finish, composed by one of their own.
I don't believe so. No, I think you're right. Yeah.
But we weren't trying to break the rules, so to speak. We're just, rather than being conforming to what everybody else is doing, we wanted our own identity. And when we met back, Rob, in September in 23, I had the medley we had a degree between myself and Leroy, and I had it recorded. And we sat down, first night of band practice, sat down and I played it to everybody. And I'm not joking, if the walls could have spoken, I would have got a right bollocking. Nobody wanted. A lot of people were kind of saying, you can't do this, you can't do this. And I remember just going, why not? And they said, well, we're going to get slated. And I'll be honest, Rob, I remember the guy said, I looked back in his eyes and he said, our intention this year in 3B is not to challenge, it is not to win, it is to go out, play a bit of music, have fun, and get a bit of sound. And that was the ambition. And when he kind of took that on board, he was right, okay. And that's what we went with. So look, it's. I suppose I'll give you a bit of a flavour for the medley too, Rob, just on the tune, the names of the tunes and what they're about.
Yeah, please.
The 4/4 coming in, it's called Fantastic Fourth. So that's kind of to represent fourth at the Worlds in 23, and it's a play in the Worlds, fantastic, obviously for Cloughfin. Yes. But that's probably one of the tunes that a lot of people give a lot of recognition to. It's a lovely 4/4 march coming in.
It is.
With the harmonies and a bit of sound, it's really nice. There's actually thirds to go in there in the last probably 4 bars, but we don't have enough players to implement that, and it doesn't work.
So that's to come then, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. That we're going to then. It's called Bridging the Gap, Rob. And I think this tune probably. Some people are maybe perplexed by it. It's a jig. It's a 6/8 time. It's a jig. But in that jig, there's about 4 beats that are crotchet beats. And when we hit the crotchet, there's harmonies in the crotchets. And people have come to me saying, why is doing such a long bridge into your jig? And it's not a bridge. It is a jig. It's a 6/8 jig. You have to listen to what the tenor, core, and bass are trying to do and what the drummers, the snare line's doing. Yeah. If you stand back and just take it for what it is, it's the music is what we're trying to really push out there more so than a traditional jig style, Rob.
See, funny you mention that, because whenever I was listening, I thought it was a bridge.
No, that's I've had that a few. Yeah, I think if you try
it's actually part of the tune.
It is.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So and it's 6/8 time. If you if you tap your foot, it's in 6/8 jig time. And then when we go into our first jig, the whole shebang, the harmonies cut out, and the first couple of bars is GD, bump 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 da. And that's what I'm trying to say to the guys, this is where we then try to show the playing, the technique, and we want the pipe chord to be as one, the unison together, and now listen to what we're doing. And that's where the drive starts to come from that first jig, or second jig, sorry. And I think that's when the melody starts to come alive. Yeah. And then we get into the slow air, which Leroy's called Leroy Slow Air. We'll have to give him that one.
It's
we'll not
beautiful,
take that one
by the way. It's a great tune. Yeah.
To be quite honest, that's one of the ones that people, that even my own wife, when I started playing that slow air, she was walking around humming it. And to me, that was always a sign of a good tune. She knows nothing about bagpipes, but was able to kind of replicate what I was doing on the pipes by humming it. Then we go into the Strasbourg. It's a 2-part Strasbourg, which, to be quite honest with you, it's one of my favourite tunes, the whole medley. I think it's a fantastic Strasbourg. There's lovely drive in it, and it's a good, strong, weak, medium weak Strasbourg. And he's named that as a bit of a jibe at Noel. It's Noel's wee siesta. So in 23, unfortunately, Noel he had miscalculated his dates, let's just say, and didn't make the Worlds. So that was a wee reminder to Noel every time we play it.
I bet he loves that, yeah.
Bit of crack. And then we're going to the first reel. It's Legs and Co. So I'll probably not get into that one, Rob, because we're live or this will be live. Right. Before my day, that was a bad day. Yeah, I was too young. And then the last tune is Arrested in Stranraer, the last reel. So the bit of the backstory to that one back in, I think it was 2005. Bondi Bridge missed the boat on the way home from the Worlds, and we were stuck at the port, and the guys were kind of walking around the port, and Leroy being Leroy went over to one of the buildings, and there was a window that was sitting slightly ajar, so he went over as if he was going to climb in, just joking about. And of course Noel Mullen and Brandon McCrory, them boys, went over and pushed him on in and closed the window.
No.
So alarms went off, and next thing security came. Now he got a rap in the knuckles. He wasn't arrested, but that was the reason for the arrest in Stranraer. But just to let you know, on that one, there is a sequel to that. There's a jig that follows that called Released in Stranraer. But with the medley at the moment, depending on our tempos, is sitting between 4 minutes 40, 4 minutes 50. So it didn't have enough time to play the jig version of it. But the jig version of it, again, it's an excellent tune. It's the same kind of melodic line as the reel. So look, that's the kind of synopsis of the medley, and that's how it all came about, Rob.
Fantastic, yeah. So Conor, can I ask then, obviously I know yourself from Ballinderry Bridge days, but how did you come across Cloughfin? Are you from that area?
I'm from Kildress, where Cloughfin were based. My home house is about a mile from the band hall, and Noel was obviously the pipe major of Cloughfin. Whenever he taught me from scratch from 7.
Yeah.
Aye.
There you go, and that's how you get pulled in now for doing the pipe major role, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, I think that really came about, Rob, just because I wanted sheepskin bags and Noel didn't. And basically I kept pushing and eventually he just said, if you want sheepskin bags, you go get them and you can be in charge of it. I'm not dealing with that. So that's how that kind of came to fruition, Rob.
There we go. I think there's a story there too, Conor. That's nice. Yeah. Excellent. So I need to talk to your bass drummer then and talk about that interesting section there at the beginning. So what's it like playing that in the middle of the circle with that music around you?
Or playing the medley?
Yeah.
It's interesting, Rob.
There's a word. Yeah.
as a bass player, when you've got so many different structures within that medley, the way it is and the way Conor, especially the way he wants it played, you don't switch off. Now, we're very lucky that you were speaking to Conor there about being from Cloughfin. Our band is about 75% of our members are all from within a mile of each other. It's something we started when Conor talked about the heritage before. It was very important going forward that we have a band to lead behind us, if that makes sense. So whenever it gets to the stage where I'm done and out of it, and Conor McNamee's done and out of it, that we have people to take our place, and that's the only way the band can survive, which is something that's deep within our hearts. And anybody that comes into the band, even the ones who come in the last couple of years, I think they'd like to move to Cloughfin because we're an extremely friendly group of people, and we're very inviting. Yeah. You talk about playing the bass and next to the medley. I'm lucky our tenor corps, two of them's my own daughters.
Oh,
and then we'll have one of the other girl, Dawn, one of the drummer's daughters, and then Shay McCullough's sister, Chloe, and then we've got Stuart Wilson's daughter, Erin, in now, and then we've got... Who's the last one? Oh, Ayla McGonigal, who's Richard and Seth now in the drum corps. So it's all very much family based.
So it's a lot of families involved then.
It's all very, very close family based, as
and
I
all
say.
very local too, yeah. So is there any tuition and things like that happening at the moment? Like, are you bringing on any learners or developing any talent?
Oh, we're developing. Our plan is, we're hoping to, in 2026, start a junior band.
Oh,
in 4B, Almond. Excuse me. We're on a teaching program in Killeen Primary School. This is where we actually do our practice now at the minute, and just like to thank Catherine McKenna and Dimna Lagan, both within the school there, who let us use the school whenever we need it. Effectively, the school is open to us, and then we run another teaching school just past there in Dunamore Primary School. It's the other side of Kildress Parish, with piping and drumming. So we have a few learners going, on their way. But as you know yourself, Rab, if you start with 10 and you get 2, that was the result.
Yeah,
to keep them that way. But as I say, we all started from very young, in that old blacksmith hall with no electric and lighting with the gas and mantle, for the light. I was 10 years of age. Conor started at 7. So we're trying to just bring that on to our own children now and our own youth of the parish, so that whenever that day comes, whenever I say I've had enough and listened to how Conor wants that medley played, that I've somebody else who's going to step in and do it for me,
There you go. Well, that's excellent to hear. Thank you. So I'm going to turn back to Conor McCallion now. Obviously, now looking ahead, what are the hopes for the future for the band? Any aspirations coming in?
Rob, we tend to go week by week as long as I get players to band practice. No, joking aside, the short term goal this year, Rob, is to, I'm not going to say tread water in Grade 3A, but we'd like to survive. We'd like to push with the piping. The piping in Grade 3A is at a very, very high standard.
It is, yeah.
Kildare, Town, Clogher, Major Sinclair, Irvine Memorial, any pipe corps in their given day can win the piping in Grade 3A. So as long as we're in the mix with the piping, and if the drummers can do enough that we can get into a fourth prize here and there, fantastic. The goal this year would be to, if we could qualify for the Worlds, that would be an absolute dream. That's the short term goal. As the guys have alluded to, next year's the 100-year anniversary. We'll be doing running functions, there'll be concerts, and there'll be different things that we'll be doing. And hopefully, if a junior band could come out in 2026, that would be another amazing result. And then I suppose medium to long term, as Conor McNamee kind of alluded to earlier, Rob, as long as we keep the door open, that's the main thing. If things start to, it's difficult as you go up the grades, as you're well aware, Rob. I do think the music board over here, and the music board in general, I think this pushing bands up grades too quick is it's the wrong thing to be doing. And success breeds success. And when that stops and that dries up, the younger guys, like we're come from the countryside, and a lot of the guys, farming backgrounds and what have you, all of a sudden, they're having the time to come to band practice. Whereas if you're going to compete for an All Ireland or be close to get a prize in All Ireland, it gives you that momentum to go there. So look, the main goal is to keep the door open, Rob, and we'll see what the future brings. Look, there's more tunes coming, to be quite honest. With a set of hornpipes that we were to learn over the winter, which we didn't get, but certainly they'll be played next year. And again, 2 original compositions, which are excellent hornpipes and things like that. So look, we like to keep ourselves relevant and try and do our own thing and create our own identity rather than conforming to the norm, is what we're trying to do, Rob.
That's fantastic. Well, I have to give you a shout down. I'm on the clock, Vin. Ryan. There you go. I've been huge fans. Since I heard the medley in Enniskillen, I've been hooked. And, we've played it a few times now on the show. I'm absolutely all for it. And I'm looking forward to hearing the new stuff now, Connor. Yeah.
Very good.
So best wishes to yourself and to everyone there at Cloughfin. And, we'll see you out there in the grass. Thank
you very much, Rab. Cheers. Thank you.
There you are. A massive shout out to everyone there at Cloughfin. Taking time to chat to me. And, interesting, isn't it? So now, next time you see the band out there, I'm sure you're all going to have a look at their cap badges and stuff and have a look for that anvil, because now you all know the story behind the anvil. Brilliant. And hey, those new hornpipes that Connor was talking about there, I can't wait to hear them. And if you haven't heard their original medley, now I know I've already said this before, go and have a listen back to their performances from this past season. Some of the music on offer there is just fantastic. Now, I'm all for it. I know some folk that maybe don't like it because there's no traditional tune in there to kind of latch onto that isn't an anchor for some more traditionalists, I guess. So, there's no Lord Alec, there's no tune, there's no Highland Wedding, there's nothing like that for you to go, I know that tune, I know how it goes, and I know how it should be played. No, Cloughfin are absolutely blazing their own trail here, and it's so interesting to watch. So, yeah, having a musical impact definitely seems to be a focus for Cloughfin, and they have done that this past season, which is why I'm so excited to see Cloughfin this incoming year in 2026. Mark my words, it's going to be an interesting year for Cloughfin Pipe Band next year. I think it's going to be fun. Piping fans should pay attention. There's going to be some musical fireworks from Cloughfin next season. I have no doubt. Yeah. All right, well, to everyone there at Cloughfin, again, thank you for taking the time to sit down and have a chat with me. And, we learned a lot there. Do you know what? I love these Meet the Band series. I think they're fantastic. We get to hear some of the stories about these bands that ordinarily we would never get into. So I hope you've enjoyed that. There you are. So, of course, if you do want to be a part of a future Meet the Band, well, yes, our features are still open. So you can contact us, bigrabshow@gmail.com. And, we could meet your band and hear your story and bring it to a future show. There you are. Well, folks, I think that's been quite a packed episode this week. We've got a lot of ground covered. And, this weekend, of course, these the Livy Invitationals, so ourselves and the Big Rab Show will be incredibly busy this weekend. So to everyone competing in Livingston at the Invitationals, have a good tune. If you are attending, well, have a good day's crack and easy on the pints. But we will see you all there. And, of course, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, all that stuff. We'll have all full coverage available from the event up on there as soon as we can. There you are. It's going to be a busy weekend of piping and drumming, and we're looking forward to it. Well, folks, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Another one is in the can. Don't forget to tell your mates about our wee show, about what we're doing over here. Talking about what we know and love, to be the music of the great Highland bagpipe and its people. Sure, where else would you be? Each and every week, every Wednesday, without fail. Well, that's it. I am out the door. Thank you all for downloading, and I will see you all in the next one. Until then, all the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.